Hello, and welcome back to the holliest, jolliest, Christmolliest time of the year.
Okay, that's all right. You're really sort of pushing the terrible intros.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So today,
Really
I am Joe Kringle
Oh no!
with
Oh no!
my
Keep the hat on.
with my friend Sam Kringle. I'm kidding. It's Santa Claus. And Alex Haig. Sorry, I couldn't think of anything like... I guess Alex the Elf could have been okay, but Alex Haig will do, because we're not talking about Christmas, we're talking about holidays, as we talk about the only superpower that truly matters at this amazing time, the most wonderful time of the year.
Makes you feel all warm and fuzzy inside.
Absolutely.
Or,
I don't know why I just
like
put
every
emphasis on
worker
that.
that's out there, dead and hating everyone.
Absolutely. So, as we begin today, let's check out what we're actually talking about. Today, we are talking about holiday embodiment. Slash, that's right, we're getting a slash in there. Slash empowerment. If you don't know what we're talking about, the being either needs to be, or the person in question needs to be, empowered by the holiday itself, or the physical manifestation in the form of a sentient creature of the holiday. For instance, Santa Claus, Krampus, Sam Haig, the Easter Bunny, Jack Skeleton, the Headless Horseman, or even a leprechaun. Trust me, that will come up later. There are a few others, but of course, if anyone else wants to specifically state one, they can indeed do so.
I mean, pretty sure you mean Sam Hain, not Sam Haig. Or,
I thought it was Sam Haig.
no, I think Sam Haig is a Telegram impersonator. What I've looked up, I think you mean Sam Hain as in with an EIN.
Sam Hain is the one of Halloween, yeah?
Yeah, with an it's AIN, I should rephrase.
Then in that case, you have corrected me, sir. Well done. You have won the prize of starting. Continue.
What am I continuing with? I was just proving you wrong. I was like, no, that was reward enough.
Sam, you have clearly shown me that you are not ready to take control of this podcast.
I'm always ready.
I'm afraid you were not. So you have proven me wrong. And yourself wrong. Sit in the Sit in the corner of foolishness. Fool!
Anyway,
Sit in the corner of foolishness! Right. Alex.
Yeah.
I'm going to lay some info on you. And I hope you're ready for this. So, did you know that the difference between empowerment and embodiment is an embodiment is basically you start with that power because you are the physical manifestation of said particular concept or thing, and empowerment is that you existed pre or before that specific thing and you exist even after it, but whilst it's happening, you are powered up.
Okay, right, I get it now. I get it. It's sort of like adjacent to sort of god powers a little bit.
Kinda, yeah.
It is kind of a meta power, really, because it's sort of like, well, we know, what it is, and it could be just like incredibly grossly unfair as well. Like, imagine getting all of the powers of Santa.
And you know what's funny about this?
What is it, Joe?
Well, if anyone was to specifically think that the mutant known as Santa Claus from the X-Men comics, known as the ultimately most powerful, would actually be incorrect. Because it turns out that he has multiple abilities because that he is also an X-Man, meaning that he has a mutation. Technically, he has that power 360 days a year. That's right, he has it every single day of the year, regardless of the holiday, which technically means he is not empowered by nor embodiment of the holiday. Oh no! That means that we can't talk about him. Anyway, moving on. So, what are the specific specifications, you might be asking, of holiday embodiment? Don't worry, I'm here to tell you. Well, first of all, the being has to have specifically the embodiment of the concepts of said holiday. For instance, if it's Christmas, maybe the ability to manipulate or grant gifts, wishes, or even take them away. Second, they can punish or see those who do not deserve punishment. Finally, holiday embodiment has to be only during or based around said holiday. So, if I was to say Halloween, it can only be on the day of Halloween, or at least specifically the powers of Halloween itself. Empowerment, however, has to be during or close to the proximity of that holiday. Now that we've gotten that rid of, let's specifically begin with, of course, Halloween, since we passed it recently. Halloween usually has the concepts of scare or fear, and allows the user to create illusions or manipulate reality to only manipulate it to scary things. Or at least control reality based on the specific target's fears. So, now that we have that, why don't we hear from someone else based on Halloween's embodiment or manipulation?
Okay, I'm gonna go in. So kind of like Halloween and Christmas in a way, because I'm talking about Jack Skellington, who I think by the terms of Animite Tales would be a realm ruler. You know, because that's how it works in the Nightmare Before Christmas universe, where you have like these entire worlds that are dedicated to this particular holiday, and it's like outside of their realms, they have like powers based on their holiday, but it doesn't quite work that well. It doesn't work. It works differently in other worlds. So Jack Skeleton that we know is literally a skeleton,
Okay.
and that he basically has immortality. Because like he literally gets shut down.
An embodiment has
yeah.
immortality, or at least
Yeah.
to the usual themes or means of immortality.
Yeah, basically it's like, well, as long as the holiday exists, they exist. And it's like, yeah, actually this is kind of the same, because this is a bit of lore in Nightmare Before Christmas. Oogie Boogie in the games, the Boogeyman, originally
Yes.
came with his own holiday in a different realm. He was his own realm ruler, which was Bug Day, but that holiday no longer existed. It just fell out of favor, so he basically just went into the Halloween world and tried to take it over himself. But that didn't work out for him. So basically, he just became the Boogeyman in the Halloween world, and just like is there, and he's not nearly as powerful anymore as he was, because, well, this holiday doesn't exist anymore. So he's just sort of like a mini boss, I suppose, in the world. Yeah, and he can easily get destroyed by just destroying his sack. He's literally just a load of bugs coated in a sack, which I'm assuming if he was, in his own holiday realm, he'd be a bit more powerful than that.
He does get resurrected in the game.
I mean, yeah, I suppose so.
Yeah.
But yeah, because he's still like he's latched on to Halloween rather than is like empowered by it.
Well,
So,
at that point, he's at that point he is either a slight embodiment of a part of it, or he's actually empowered by its existence.
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, he even is in the song. It's saying, "I am the shadow on the moonlit night, filling your dreams to the brim with fright." So I guess he is like, that's the part that he embodies from Halloween now. It's just like he is the monster that hides under the bed. That's what's like, scary, and that's what he's latched onto. Whereas before, he was like, he was the embodiment of bugs.
Well, here's actually what I'm going to be a bit of a dick about. Sorry, yeah. I'm going to ruin your Christmas spirit. So, here's the problem with that. Technically, he is actually the Boogeyman, as you stated, and theoretically, the Boogeyman may actually come into existence regardless of the time of year, which actually means that he is just slightly more powerful by the time of Halloween, because people are starting to bulk up their fears of the unknown, or even the spooky or scary, which technically means he is slightly more empowered at that time of year, not by the actual holiday itself. So theoretically, depending on the specifications of how his power works, or the specifications of the universe that he's currently in and the lore, I'm going to say that it's actually more fear or fright empowerment / embodiment, not holiday embodiment or empowerment.
Christmas is ruined.
I'm sorry. But you are on the right themes. Technically, as you said, he is the embodiment of a specification of what he stated. But actually, the truth is, he's just impersonated those things. He states, the fear that I am is what that you claim. In other words, he's more stating, I am the shadow of the night, the things that you fear and the things that create fright. So in other words, he's stating that he is, as you said, the shadow beneath the bed, which basically means that he gets empowered by the fear of it, or he is in fact the embodiment of the things that people fear beneath the bed. Which technically means that that's not necessarily to do with Halloween. It's just that they fear it more during Halloween, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, that kind of works with his personality as well, because he's just kind of latched onto the other, this entire world, which is empowered by Halloween.
No,
in
absolutely.
every respect.
Sorry, Sam, go on.
Yeah.
I was going to mention more of the games, but never mind that.
Fair enough. By the way, if anyone didn't actually guess this one's going to be a little bit more reference heavy, considering that, well, we are going to be referencing multiple holidays, folklore, and also other forms of other things. Normally we don't like to do this, or at least I don't like to do this because I'm a stickler for the rules, but we're going to do this because this is a reference heavy sort of theme. So...
I'm going to reference it then. At one point in the game, he does become the 7 Holidays King. Gets powered by all 7 holidays.
And what are those 7 holidays? Name them, otherwise you're not a true fan, according to gatekeepers.
It's like Patriots. It's like President's Day, the 4th of July, Halloween, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Valentine's Day, and I think it was another American holiday.
And Easter.
Easter! Yeah, that's what it was. So it's like those 7.
I thought you were going to say the 4th of July, but fair enough. Okay.
4th of July wasn't? No, I said 4th of July. 4th of July was my second one.
Oh, okay,
I was joking because I knew it was like, yeah, the Easter Bunny, because they kidnapped the Easter Bunny, so that was one of the
Fair
dots.
enough. All right, fair enough. Yeah. All right, that's 7.
He kidnaps all of them and becomes the embodiment of all 7 holidays.
Okay.
And then Jack.
Or does he gain?
Of course.
Does he gain empowerment from them, or is he actually the embodiment of them?
I mean, for a brief moment, I think he becomes the embodiment of them until Jack stops him.
How does he stop him?
Kicking his ass with song and dance.
Okay, it's more probably empowerment than embodiment.
Possibly. He does become 5 stories tall, as he does say in song.
I don't care how big you are. Technically, any power could grant incredible size. I mean, super strength, some people argue that super strength increases size. I mean, look at All Might. Technically, his super strength grants him a super body. Although then again, technically, Superman doesn't. Never mind, my logic is flawed. But regardless of whether or not it's flawed, we should still be talking about something even more important than that. Which is... questionable holiday empowerment / embodiment.
Oh no.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it. There are 2. Easter.
No, don't do this. You'll piss off so many people if you open the Easter discourse.
And the second one, oh no, this is gonna get even more upsetting because technically I'm hurting a quarter of my own bloodline and technically, maybe, half of Sam. But the first one, let's get on with the first one. So, the first one is Easter. So, technically, the Easter Bunny. So, let's talk about the Easter Bunny. The Easter Bunny colours or alters eggs. I don't know enough about Easter to know of the Easter tradition.
Do we tell what the Easter Bunny does?
Yes, Sam. Be our Lorax. By the
Okay.
way, just in case if anyone doesn't actually specifically know as to why I'm actually letting Sam do this, it's because I don't know enough, and therefore anything Sam says right now is fact. Go ahead, Sam.
Yes.
Take it away.
What the Easter Bunny does is that during the night, Easter Bunny will roam around the country, setting eggs, chocolate egg, like colored eggs, about for the kids to find in the morning.
Is that
Usually, usually he's quite fast about it because he's all over the country. As in, I think not just the country, the world. He's probably got the speed of Santa, but without having to carry all the presents. With a lot of eggs.
I think that it came from like a pagan ritual where like a rabbit creature actually did used to lay eggs.
Oh yeah,
Something
it's
like
all
that.
pagan. All pagan. Every holiday Christians have is pagans.
Well, that's pissed off, a good portion of the the internet.
I mean, if Christians don't know that, it's the truth. Every holiday tradition you could think of is based on paganism. Trees, having feasts, getting drunk.
Okay, look, I'm going to say this because I'm
Every
sort
holiday
of
is based on
more
paganism.
Christian agnostic at this point. I am going to say, I'm really sorry to say, Christians, I am on your side. Don't be upset. I am on your side. But they are kind of correct. It does come from paganism. If you're giving gifts and thinking about Santa Claus, I'm afraid that is actually coming from a 4th century pagan ritual.
I mean, I should say, Saint Nicholas would be ashamed if you actually called him Santa Claus and worshipped him instead of Jesus. Because those beyond the most famous story of Saint Nicholas giving gifts to prostitutes, so they wouldn't have to prostitute. His other most anyway, that is his famous story.
Again, I don't know if this is true,
What?
so I'm sorry if any of those who are actually trying to watch or listen to our stuff for the sake of RE or PSHE, but
What?
look,
What?
look.
Let me finish the famous story, Joe!
Look, I'm backing you up
me
here,
finish.
Sam. Don't worry, I have to do this for the sake of disclaimer's sake. Whatever
Let me
he
finish.
says right now is supposedly fact. Go on, Sam.
Most famous story that Saint Nicholas did, beyond the giving presents to prostitutes, was that he whacked someone near to death because he was part of a council years ago. I think it was like the judges or something similar to that, where they decided that Jesus was the true Son of God. One of his fellow people said he wasn't, and then he beat that man near to death because he didn't believe enough. That is the second most famous story of Santa Claus. That's why he would be ashamed of you for all the things you attribute to him.
I mean, you and I might have a different sense of fame, because one of the particular ones that I heard was actually that Santa Claus is actually a pastiche. Is it a pastiche? I might be getting this wrong. An allegory. Sorry, an allegory of Odin.
Yeah, but like Saint Nicholas himself, the only tribute to the name is based on that guy back in the day.
Okay, fair enough.
I know he's a past. I know he's a bricolage of various different elements taken from various different time periods. But the actual person himself, that we base Santa Claus on, is what I'm talking about.
Fair enough.
Yes. Just so people know.
That is just bananas correct. I want to say, in terms of Christmas, we're sorry for interrupting you, Sam. I know you get a bit heated and it gets a bit scary sometimes.
No, that is actually my fault. I just needed to give that disclaimer out. I was not trying to diminish your specific role as the Lorax of holidays, by the way.
Of my all-time knowledge of various different holidays and their cultural impacts.
What you say is fact until given otherwise statements. But now we come into the world of theoretical, which is therefore where I reign supreme. Yeah, I know.
It's all going to hell, folks.
Absolutely.
You're like,
Right, so thankfully we've now gotten that cleared out of the way. We can now talk about something else. Bank holidays.
Oh my god, the worst superpower.
So, no, because Sam might actually get upset about this. Now, I understand, Sam, that you
Fine.
are Northern Irish, yes?
Is this St. Pat? Is this St. Paddy's
This
Day?
is nothing to do with St. Paddy's Day, don't worry.
Good.
So, I found out recently that there is a specific concept that there are 2 separate folklore around bank holidays.
Which bank holiday?
Just bank holidays in general.
Go
It is
on.
a more new realization of bank holidays.
I mean,
There are 2, and this is going to be rather upsetting to those of Irish descent, and I apologise, because I am also of Irish descent, and I find this a little odd,
I mean,
but I know that Sam is Northern Irish, so maybe he might not find this as upsetting as I. Or maybe
this is
he
the
might
phosphorus bombings.
Or maybe he might find this more upsetting since I've actually brought this up. But there are 2 things, and I'm going to say the first one, which is actually less upsetting than the other. First of all, there was the concept of there is a being on bank holidays that would appear, a patron goblin, that would help those who needed to place their money somewhere safe for a price. They would give their money, but 10% of that money would be for them, and the money would be placed safe. Nothing in the realms, no gods, no beings, no demons, no angels, no witches, no creature would ever be able to touch that coin, but they would need to give 10% of it away. If you gave 10, they would have 1, so meaning that you technically only ever get 9 back. If you gave 100, they'd get 10, meaning that you'd get 90 back. So, with that particular concept in place, it would be almost like as if you placed $100 or pounds or euros into your mattress, but you'd never be able to recover any more than 90 back. Now, this
Still better than
creature
most
would
banks.
be the concept of the embodiment of nothing would corrupt it. No one could ever take that money away from you. That money would be in that thing's hands. Even if it was killed, the money would always be sent to you perfectly, and nothing would ever be swapped in or out.
How unlike a bank.
Unlike a bank. Exactly. Uncorruptible. Bank holiday, it would be. However, in other forms of specifications, it was not a goblin, nor a troll, but a fairy. Or
Yeah.
a leprechaun.
Oh my god, what?
Yeah.
I mean, he does have pots of gold.
Yes,
Would not
exactly.
surprise me.
No.
Are you telling me that leprechauns are just bankers?
Well, this is according to the folklore of bank holidays, and they came about way more later than actual leprechaun folklore, so probably not.
I mean, I don't know, my mind's blown.
So what you're saying is the people just thought all bankers were little people? They're goblins or leprechauns or fairies.
You know what? Bigotry never changes, does it?
Is that just what they're trying? Is that just what they think bank holidays are about? Is about little people taking 10% of your money?
I feel so sorry for the poor bankers who are like really trying to do their jobs, and they're just like, they're just a bit short. They've got big noses, and they're balding and stuff, and then they just get called goblins and leprechauns and fairies, and they're like, hey, mean.
Yeah. So I mean,
I'm
anyway.
not trying to call out bankers here. I'm just saying, is that what they think bank holiday people?
Yeah, I mean, either way, those who work on bank holidays, loan sharks, we now call them.
Swimming across the state from street to street.
So, here's what I'm going to give to you guys. If you were to make a person, let's say in Animite Tales, or in D&D, or in Vampires the Masquerade, or in just any tabletop RPG, if you were to make the embodiment of this, how would its powers work? You don't need to give me a why or a reason, just how would its powers work?
Embodiment of what?
Bank holidays. Bank holidays. Let's specifically talk about the bank holiday goblins or the bank holiday leprechauns.
Well, it would definitely have to be like, if it were D&D, it would have to be a goblin. You know, of course, naturally.
Okay, that's what you're going with. Bank holiday goblin, alright.
Yeah, the bank holiday goblin, it would be, basically it would be sort of, it would only come up when in the least stressful of situations. Like, that would be like, its thing. It's just a very chill goblin that will maybe it could be sort of like an emotional empowerment thing where it'll just sort of like come at the right moment and go, hey, take a day to yourself. Don't have to do it. It'll just go up to you and be like,
where did this coin come from? It's from your rainy day funds.
Thanks, bank holiday goblin.
Oh my gosh! Right, I'm now going to promise this to all of you. In the revealing campaign, there is going to be a bank holiday goblin.
Yes!
Sweet. Yes!
That is going to appear as your banker that will be untouchable by any corruption. That money will be for anything that you need.
You say that, but I'm all up. My character in the revealing campaign is all about corrupting everything.
I mean, he will be uncorruptible. The whole point of him is uncorruptible. But I like your spunk. Either way, continue.
Yeah, you're new. I've got chill nice bank holiday goblin. Just like
I'm gonna go the complete opposite end of that. I'm gonna go for, if we're doing Vampire the Masquerade, all the games, I'd probably say he's a Nosferatu. He's definitely someone that would hide in the sewers and then come up whenever no one's looking. And you like, it'd be like, he's like, I wish someone would take this £100 and save it for me. You like look off in the distance, you find you've been pickpocketed. Like, then you see like nothing. Like, he'd always be obfuscating, so he'd be invisible. He'd just like appear, take the money, disappear. Like, whoa, where's the money? And then he just like is spying on you via computers. It's like whenever you say, "Oh, I wish I had £90," you suddenly like appear out of the sewer grating, and just like you just like turn around, like 90 quid's on the table. It's like disappear. Whoa. Thank you, bank holiday Nosferatu.
So,
and he just spends the £10 on buying rats or something.
I actually have one which actually could be quite usable / useful.
That's for the anime tales.
Oh, absolutely! Come on, who do you take me for? So, I would go with. I'll tell you what. Make it a challenge for me. You guys get to pick the power. Any power, any race. Go for it. Teleportation, okay.
Okay, what about hyperagility?
Hyperagility and teleportation, gotcha, okay. Right, so let's go with the concept that this person is indeed some kind of odd leprechaun that can teleport from any two particular dimensions. Let's go with that they have the ability of Everywhere Man, and they have high levels of creativity. They can dodge almost any particular person because they have absolute reflexes. And let's go for the fact that they are a loan shark. They have a large amount of money because they are able to quickly and easily steal it stealthily from other people, and they have a large quantity of coin. They can teleport through anywhere throughout the all level of dimensions thanks to their intelligence or creativity as they suddenly think up a universe, pop into a new one, and go, hey, wait! Before you shoot me, let's just talk about this real quick. I have a large amount of gold. Does that interest you? And there we go. They are able to both give money as well as take interesting amounts of different particular items or objects of interest, take them for themselves and use them for as and when they need. Teleport to a new universe and suddenly they have all sorts of different things that they can use. That's pretty much it.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, and we'll meet them in the revealing.
The bank holiday idea embodiment, basically the ability to completely and easily dodge in and out of different particular attacks because they are not a fighter, and instantly and instantaneously teleport in between different places, areas, and dimensions themselves. But always being able to quickly steal a bit of coin if they ever need it.
It get the goblin giveth and it taketh away.
Yeah. So, let's get on with the main event. Christmas. 'Tis the most wonderful time of the year. So.
I love it. I love it. I love this is the. I think this is the best one. It's been used quite a lot, actually.
I am sorry for any of those who wished to learn more about other holidays. Some of them, of course, are indeed intriguing, but we are not going to be talking about day empowerment, I guess. Specific day. No, you know what? Alright, no, I'm just going to rapid fire this off. Actually, holiday empowerment can also specifically be based on the concept of if a being is specifically known as or encumbersome of a specific day. For instance, Odin is Wednesday. Easter is a specific being or deity of which that you can specifically conjure up because that people believe that it's the day of Jesus or Easter Bunny or the deity of autumn. Okay. We're also going to talk about summer and also winter. For instance, Demeter, the Greek... Demeter. Yeah, well, that's the thing. I thought it was Demeter, but then Hades.
Yeah, he's Hades.
Hades says Demeter.
It's Demeter.
Thank you. Alright, I wasn't going crazy.
Demeter, goddess of the harvest.
Thank you.
Various other things.
Thank you. I wasn't going insane. Also, there is, of course, technically, I guess you could say, any of the considerable gods of time: Kronos, Tempus, Chronoros, and, of course, Father Time.
The year-end baby.
Oh, yes, the year-end baby. Yeah.
Or it's got like Baby New Year or something.
Baby New Year, thank you. That was, again, driving me crazy. There is also Summer Solstice Child, Summer Solstice Sister, and Summer Solstice Miss Summer Solstice. There is, of course, I'm now forgetting the other one. Cupid of Valentine's Day.
There you go.
The love manipulation / love empowerment / love embodiment / love manipulation embodiment angel / god, because some people believe he's a god, other people believe that he's an angel, other people believe that he's just the physical embodiment of a being known as love, which technically is actually a meta being, but never mind. Any others?
I think that's all the main ones.
Yeah, I mean, 4th of July, patriotism embodiment.
I mean, there are a lot of, unfortunately enough, we are quite ignorant of many of the other...
Yeah.
Hanukkah embodiment. Okay. There is also Hanukkah embodiment, which some people believe that he or they or she has the embodiment or / empowerment of, as they get more powerful, they get more powerful throughout the amount of days. Some people believe that in certain levels of fiction that they get more powerful in the middle day. Others believe that they gain more power at the final day. Again, anime and also really ancient, and when I say really ancient, I mean up to 10 or 20 years worth of webcomic fiction are really weird, where they empower certain beings with an incredible amount of power and then they just sort of like disappear after the end of them. Anything else? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
It's just saying how, unfortunately enough, we're somewhat ignorant about various different faiths and their own holidays and their own versions of what those holidays mean.
I wish to know more about Kwanzaa, especially around about this time, because I don't know enough about Kwanzaa. So if you know anyone who would like to, further teach me about or indulge me about the information about in Kwanzaa, please at me at Animite Tales on Twitter, or send a comment on the Animite Tales.
My friend was telling me like 2 weeks ago, I think it was like Diwali. I know for a fact I'm pronouncing that wrong.
Yeah. And there's also there's Ramadan and stuff as well, but I wouldn't really say you're everybody.
There's a lot of holidays that we're just kind of not.
We are ignorant about. Unfortunately, that's not necessarily. I will say this: that it's not necessarily that we don't want to know. It's just that we haven't had the opportunity to learn about it. So, if you out there are either listening to this or wondering about, well, Animite Tales hasn't spoken about this on their Twitter, then at me at Twitter, as I said before, or comment in the comment section below on this YouTube video. I mean, obviously, if this is somewhere else, then obviously go onto the Animite Tales YouTube channel and you'll be able to see it, and just send us a message, send us a comment on anywhere about the holidays that you specifically, well,
we're just not saying here.
We're not saying here, yeah, that you specifically identify with, or at least maybe even if we have said something that is not specifically necessarily the full truth of your particular faiths, beliefs, or traditions, we'd like to know more. Honestly, we really do. I mean, it's one of the reasons why we do this. We actually really like multiple concepts of traditions, regardless of whether or not it's tradition, theology, fictional, physiological knowledge. We just are interested in all sorts of different concepts. Every day,
after all.
Exactly. I mean, the world is a story that ever constantly tells, but everyone has a story to tell, which means that the world that we live in is an infinitely expanding story of stories that constantly and are everly written.
I just realised we should have said Animal Crossing. It embodies every holiday perfectly. It has embodiments of every holiday, remember?
Yeah, fair enough. Anyway, right.
It has villages that embody the holidays, like the reindeer and the freaky egg mascot.
It is, of course, time to talk about the most wonderful time of the year. Now, I'm sorry for those who did not get their time to talk about, or even their chance. But we do not know enough, as Sam once said, we do not know enough about the other holidays. So we are going to talk about the one that is currently at the moment in the Western civilization talked about the most, which is Christmas. Yes. The embodiment of two particular things. Now, I'm going to give the two of you some time to do so. Chat amongst either of yourselves about them before I then come up with them. I'm just going to quickly go and sort something out very quickly.
He's gone. We can talk about anything we want.
Well, don't forget, I also re-look at these, so I'll know.
No, he caught us like the principal.
What I'm going to state is I'm going to see both of you, between the two of you, figure out the main things of Christmas that you specifically think about. Main things of Christmas that you think about that would be considered as an embodiment or an empowerment. Things, in other words, superpowers that would be granted to said being that is either the embodiment or a person that is empowered by that specific thing. And then afterwards, I'm then going to ask you what those things are. And then we'll sort of bingo card it. Because I think this is a really interesting choice. So in other words, I don't get to hear them, and then I then hear them, and then I then state them, and let's see if we choose them. So I'm gonna mute myself. I'm going to let you guys chat, and then I'm going to take my headphones off, so I won't get to cheat. I'll give you 5 minutes.
Right.
Has he muted himself yet?
I think he has. Right. So anyway,
Say, I'm trying to think who embodies Christmas beyond Santa Claus.
well, there's many other things. I mean, we're talking about the holiday itself, so I just think maybe it's just the feeling of being festive, like
Yeah.
jolly, but in a way that you're wearing jumpers and sipping cocoa, not like, going wild and crazy on a hot beach or something, just sort of like, ooh, I'm sipping my cocoa by the fire and, feeling all nice and jolly,
And to be honest, the embodiment I feel whenever I'm at Christmas is, Jesus, I hate everyone. Why don't they go away and stop shopping? Because they always need everything.
Oh, well, that could be a thing, though. That could be a thing. It could be like, you don't like the consumer, because that has been like a thing of Christmas specials, finding the true meaning of Christmas. Like not consumerism and stuff. It's just getting together with your family and like, loving each other and being nice to each other.
Yes, I'm just trying to think of the Christmas specials that I really associate with Christmas. Like probably like A Christmas Carol and It's a Wonderful Life. I know it technically isn't really Christmas, but it is a Christmas special in my mind.
Yeah. I mean, of course, it's a Nightmare Before Christmas. And it's like,
Christmas, of course.
Oh, of course, it has to be snow, like with ice powers. I mean, because even in like they even like in my day at least, they had snow in the Nativity, and like that was in like the Middle East, so that wasn't happening. That would be a very rare occurrence indeed.
I mean, know that in Nightmare for Christmas, the video game,
Yeah.
Santa Claus outfit allows him to pull presents from anywhere, but the presents are bombs. So maybe the power to create presents.
Yeah, the power to create presents and give presents to anyone. Oh, the power to create presents that are perfect for the person giving it, because that's another thing. Like
in the Twilight Zone episode.
Yes. Where he has this magic sack. Yeah.
The Make Show Inherit. Great episode, by the way. Watch it.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good episode. Yeah, and it was the same as well. It's like that was also in the Polar Express, which is a nightmare horror film of the Uncanny Valley, which my girlfriend Alice like has this fondness for, because she was I guess she was like traumatized into watching it many times, by by her family. But yeah, and also trains are good. But the side of it, like Santa has those powers as well, which is to give the perfect presents to anyone, regardless of like who they are and what in the world. Like he just gives them the gift that they want, or rather the gift that they need. Really, the thing that's the most poetic. I mean, you can't just say, "I would like $1 million" and stuff, because he amazingly can't do that.
Jay, I know this might sound like a film you've Have you ever seen? I think it's like Ed Saves Christmas.
I vaguely remember that.
It's like it's all Jim Varney in it.
Yeah, kind of remember that actually.
I can't remember what it's called. It's like Ernest Saves Christmas.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that.
And like the Santa in that pretty much knows all of the kids on the earth and like still follows them. Has all the knowledge about everyone on the planet. The point that he's able to empathize with almost everyone, help them become better people, because he knows exactly who they are.
I am now back.
I thought in the movie it was very adorable.
Yes, but in real life,
yeah, but still.
I'm going to ask you one question before I actually ask you the main question again of what I originally asked. So the first one is embodiment or empowerment? Which are the ones that both of you have sort of like collectively chosen?
I'm thinking empowerment, to be honest.
Okay.
Because
What about you, Sam?
I'm thinking kind of embodiment, I guess. Which one's embodiment again?
Embodiment is the one that you are literally the physical embodiment of the actual holiday. Empowerment is that like you existed before, but you actually gain power from it happening, rather than you are literally the physical embodiment of it.
Empowerment, then.
Okay, empowerment, and again, just so I remember, you're going empowerment or embodiment, Alex?
I'm going empowerment myself.
Okay.
I think that's the better one. Sorry,
So
Sam.
both of you are empowerment then.
No. I mean, yes. That's correct, yeah.
Yes, that's what we are.
So, what are the concepts of empowerment of, let's say, Christmas empowerment?
Well,
You want to go first, Alex?
Oh yeah, I'll go first. Yeah. Well, my one is snow. Like either the creation of snow, of snow and ice, or the empowerment from snow and ice. Like the more festive and wintry it is, the more the more infused with the Christmas spirit you are.
Okay, so do you gain more power from snow, or can you generate and manipulate snow?
I think both. That could be it. You could just it could be either.
So
Like, the
technically
more
that means
you
that the user can generate snow and therefore could become more powerful because of the amount of snow that they've generated?
Yeah, I suppose so. It could be like they could coat themselves in snow and become Frosty the Snowman. If they just really get themselves deep in that snow.
Okay,
And
fair enough. So you're saying snow. Anything else?
The feeling of being festive, like sort of an emotional empowerment. The more festive it is, but not like just
Ooh, okay.
happy. It has to be specifically festive for
Festive,
it to work.
like you don't necessarily have to be happy, but you have to be, it's a great time, and even if you're depressed or upset, it's because of the festivities that are going on. Not necessarily like negative. No. I want to point this out. Not necessarily negative, like, oh great, it's Christmas again, but because like, oh man, I remember when I used to enjoy Christmas. I still enjoy Christmas, but it's not the same without the rest of my family, or at least it is great that everyone else can enjoy it. I'm not enjoying it the same way as them, but I'm glad that they are. So the fact that you still feel festivities rather than just going, it's another day, get over it.
Yeah. It has, and it's not just like any sort of happy day. It has to be specifically.
So, if anything, it's the fact that they can feel the festivities of differentiating this day from any other day.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not only just happy, but it's also the ability to feel festive. Like, yeah, candy canes and Christmas trees and presents and all that lot. Do you enjoy this time, Grandpa? No, I don't. In all honesty, I cannot wait until I die. But, that's just the way that it goes, isn't it? Now, come and sit on Grandpa's lap whilst I tell you the story of how I once lost the joy of Christmas. That's still a technicality of festivity, so I'll let it pass.
That's definitely Sam in a few years. Just a few more years.
I mean, I should say I'm still festive. Every year for the last 3 years, I've made sure that come Christmas Eve, I buy everyone in the shop. I buy 7 pizzas from Domino's, so for everyone to have in the shop.
Okay.
For our co-workers, so we feel happy and jolly. So I will not say I may get pissed off at the times of Christmas, having to work Christmas, but I will nonetheless feel Christmas in my heart. Okay?
And in that case, that is the greatest level of power and festivity that anyone can ever feel. So, Sam, I'm expecting a large list this Christmas. So, what are your empowerments? What are the things that empower men? What things either empowerment? What things either empower you, or what are the bonuses of which that when you get empowered that you gain from this superpower?
It's obviously omniscience. Santa has, clearly. He knows when you're awake. He knows when you're asleep. He knows when you've been bad or good. Good, for goodness sake. And oftentimes he knows when something bad's happening. He knows when something bad's happening, so he can stop it.
Is it omniscience? I would consider that omnipotent.
Omnipotence is all power. Omniscience is knowing everything, is seeing everything.
Is it? I thought omniscient
No.
is omniscience.
No, omniscient is all seeing. Omnipotence is all powerful.
Fair enough. Never mind. Sorry.
I
Continue.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
Oof.
Also, in the Hogfather, he knows when a little match girl has died and saves her. So that's omniscience in my book.
I love
Say-
the Hogfather. Sorry, I just had to say that is my
Hogfather's
Christmas movie, by the way. Elf,
Hogfather is a great movie.
Elf, Polar Express, and then Hogfather. Those are the 3 Christmas movies that I would recommend to anyone. I'm sorry, but those are the only 3. Those are the only 3 that continuously keep in my heart. Get over it.
No, it's a Christmas Carol. Watch A Wonderful Life once, and then remember its stories and watch them do Wonderful Life and other like TV shows, because they always do that. And of course, Hogfather and like Nightmare for Christmas, because it's a wonderful musical, and The Muppets Christmas Carol. See, beyond that, he has power of gift creation, either being the perfect gift, or like in Santa's sleigh, the perfect gift to kill you with.
Yeah, that's also a recommended watching.
Yeah, if you want a fun kind of semi-horror movie for Christmas, watch Santa's Sleigh. It's fun. It's kind of funny. It's hilarious. I'd say, what are powers do they have? Oh, power of kind of shifting morality, and to turn someone who is bad into a good person. At least,
okay.
even just for the day, like as we saw with the He-Man Christmas special. Skeletor for one day became a good person because he felt Christmas in his heart and saved the little kids.
Aw.
Also Scrooge, but who cares about him? Who cares about him when Skeletor's there?
Yeah, exactly. It's way more empathetic.
Yeah, like that's kind of the whole idea, is that even bad people tend to be good at Christmas. Really, in real life, that's not how it is, but in fiction, bad people tend to be good at Christmas.
Yeah, just the empowerment of the festivities, just like, hey, don't be evil today. Just, have some cocoa and enjoy our company.
Actually, I can tell you there was a great comic once. You know Shazam?
Oh, yeah.
One of his enemies fought him, and I think their fight ended up destroying an orphanage on Christmas. The point that they actually stopped that day and just made the orphanage again. Stopped their fight, and then that's when they came to said, "Yeah, okay, we'll just kind of leave each other at that for the day. It is Christmas after all."
Oh my goodness! Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I think Christmas means.
Okay, I'm not asking what you think Christmas means. I'm asking what you think
The powers you'd get.
Christmas
Yes,
embodiment or empowerment. And fair enough. Like, you're all
better to
wrong.
turn people good. If not good, at least like more.
As the obvious superpower enthusiast and expert here, I'm actually going to say you're both wrong.
Flight.
No, absolutely not. You both clearly didn't understand what I was asking. Christmas embodiment. Fair enough, well done. Christmas empowerment, on the other hand, you got it wrong. Because both of you said empowerment, not embodiment. I'm going to be a stickler for the rules, because I'm afraid I see when you're awake. And I see when you have been sleeping, and I know when you have been naughty and when you have been nice, and right now, that has been the naughtiest that you have ever been this episode, because I'm gonna tell you. Empowerment. Gaining the abilities that are necessary for the specific task of Christmas. If you need super speed, you have super speed. If you need teleportation, you have teleportation. If you have or need time manipulation, you have teleportation or time manipulation. If you have or require the ability to suddenly apparate, manipulate, generate, or even recreate the gift, you can do so, because as empowerment, you suddenly gain the abilities that all beings on Earth that celebrate and require Christmas need. That is the power of empowerment of Christmas empowerment.
So you're saying is if it requires necromancy to bring back the spirits of the ghosts of Christmas past, future, and present, he has that power.
It's incredible that you finally give me that question, because now I can answer it. The empowerment of Christmas empowerment require 3 specific rules. Number 1, have you been naughty? Have you been nice? And finally, are you sleeping during the times of which that are specified? So,
Has to be omniscient.
Omniscience, you are absolutely correct. During the day of Christmas night or Christmas Eve's night, you are given the ability of absolute true sight. You can see and hear all of those that you are helping. However, you are also given all Father's body, or all body, or even omnipresence, meaning that you can be everywhere at once, or time manipulation, meaning that you can go anywhere that you would like. But let's be honest, who could you go to first? So, you know what I'm going to say to all of 2 of you, don't you? You didn't check one very, very important thing. Who would be first? Who would be first on the list?
Aaron Aarons?
No. You're wrong. Everyone is first on the list, because technically, thanks to time and omnipresence, everyone is there. Because you are empowered with any and everything that you need. Because, Samuel, the power that you are given is what people, and let's be honest, mostly children need. It is the belief in them that keeps you empowered. It is the belief and the festivities that keep you empowered. You are nothing without Christmas, and Christmas is technically nothing without you, because without your power, there is no holiday. But without the holiday and the people's belief in your holiday, you don't have power. So technically, you are, in that belief, the same as Halloween empowerment, the people's fear and belief. What you have is what you need, and what you need is what you have. This technically should be the last episode ever, because this is the power where people believe you have everything, and you have everything. Because, Sam and Alex, this is the truth. You should have the ability to stop time, the ability to grant everything, the ability to make anything possible and happen, the ability to have all things, but there is 2 rules. The dead can never be brought back to life, and you can never be given anything beyond the capabilities of your current household. Because the truth is, Sam, the truth is, Santa Claus must not give you more than you are capable of. Not because that you only deserve what you have, but because that he is trying to make sure that you are given a gift that makes you thankful for the fact that you are yet still there, and not punished for the things that you have done. And the empowerment grants you the ability to do anything, but the responsibilities behind it are entirely based on what you need to do to make sure that you technically are not undermined by others.
I think Joe's had a nervous breakdown, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
He's gone completely.
Are you going straight into socioeconomic factors of Christmas, Joe? The poor get poor things and the rich get rich things?
Like, it's like where you had to go, Joe. Did you need to get a whiteboard and put loads of connections onto it and photos of Santa?
So I'm going to be honest with you guys. I will inform you as to why I had this information, but I cannot do it to anyone unless if you were a Patreon. So I will inform those as to why, because it is kind of almost 18 plus as to why I suddenly came to this specific reason. But nevertheless, My point is true in one
Is it
particular factor. Santa Claus has never had the ability to bring back the dead because you have to accept that the dead are dead. But also because that necromancy is considered evil. And let's be honest, Father Christmas isn't evil.
Well, depends on which Santa Claus you're talking about.
Sam. Now, that's empowerment. You are given any power that you are required to have. You are empowered with the power that you need at that specific moment. Because you are empowered by the specifications. If, however, and this is all under the concept of if, the big if, guys, the big if, you are indeed the Christmas entity. As there is a third category that I didn't want to tell you about until now. This third power is called Christmas entity physiology. Dun 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 dun.
Late nervous breakdown.
No, because I didn't want to. Because it's clear that you guys didn't do your research. There are three different forms: Christmas empowerment or holiday empowerment, Christmas embodiment or holiday embodiment, and Christmas entity physiology or holiday entity physiology. Basically, the trifecta of all concepts of powers, but none of you, except for me, did the research.
You told us not to do research. This is a play where you do the research and tell us what you're a clever boy.
You fools. Every time I tell you not to do research is so that I can just completely show you up. So that's the truth. In this podcast, I'm going to inform you of the real reason. Because everything that we've just talked about is more to do with none other than the actual holiday entity physiology. What they gain, what powers they have, and why they have them. Because truly, the real reason as to why you'd have embodiment or empowerment is because embodiment is technically the physiology, but not necessarily the entity physiology. Christmas entity physiology is technically Father Christmas or Krampus, if you believe in Krampus or believe in Father Christmas. But the embodiment can also mean a physical being that is actually the actual god of the powers behind Father Christmas and Krampus. And the empowerment... It's just anyone who has a power, any kind of power, that only happens during Christmas. Yes, this is my final breakdown. This is my last resort.
You're gonna cut your life into pieces.
Let us just say one thing to the fears out there: that yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus.
Oh my god. No.
Based on a true story, which I love.
Yeah, no, I had to work on this. I had to work on this for for when I worked at Time Out as well, and then someone wrote a really horrible response of like screw you, Veronica. There ain't no Santa.
So
it was said in a way. It was like there is no Santa, but yes, there is a Santa because he exists in our heart and in our mind.
Well, that is technically an entity, or a belief, or a concept. But the truth is, and I'm going to read this off, and I'm sorry, but this is here how it goes. Christmas entity physiology, also called Christmas entity mimicry or Noel entity. Yep, mimicry / form. The entity either is or can become a Christmas entity, personification of Christmas and its variations, the power of The power of a user can differ greatly based upon what aspect of the holiday they can take the shape of, or they do not necessarily need to be one or of the traditional holiday entities. Applications: Chariot Rider aptitude, Christmas magic, cold immunity, happiness inducement, ice magic, party inducement, surprise inducement, toy manipulation, toy creation. The variations have also got candy manipulation. Associations: Hanukkah entity and physiology, holiday entity physiology, Krampus physiology, Rangifer physiology, time manipulation, winter manipulation, wood manipulation. Limitations: all powers may only be active on Christmas or around the Christmas season. The user may only be allowed to roam freely on Christmas or around Christmas season. Lack of holiday spirit may weaken the entity's powers. That is the entity physiology.
Okay.
So that's what I want. I want to be a Christmas entity.
So,
Alright. I don't think I could hack being Santa Claus.
here's the problem with this ability. And I know that everyone's going to consider this a cop-out episode. I really do, and I'm really sorry.
Have to be immortal and live forever and give people gifts forever and ever and
No.
ever.
No. It's even worse, guys.
Be a decent human being.
Even worse.
Oof.
It's meta levels of even worse.
Do you have to like kids?
No. Even meta even worse. There are too many ways that we can look at this ability than we can allow in a single episode.
Oh.
Oh. Are we doing another episode?
I'm afraid, guys, that's something that we'll have to do next year. Thank you for everyone to listening in to this episode. Like and subscribe, maybe even share. If you want to have a look at our Patreon, then check out the Animite Tales Patreon if you would like to have a look at a tabletop RPG based and centered around superpowers and a new entirely fantasy, sci-fi / superpower fantasy universe. If you'd also like to have a look at our Twitter, then I have a Twitter for you, at Animite Tales, where I share, post, and even every now and occasionally share my own opinions on tabletop RPGs, fantasy, and even artwork. Thank you very much for listening, and of course, as always, thank you and good night. Have a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, awesome Kwanzaa, or any other particular holidays that you enjoy. Thank you very much for listening, and of course, this has been me, Alex, and Sam.
God bless us, everyone.
Happy holidays, and have a good one.
And I guess as always, ciao ciao for Christmas now.